I woke up at exactly 2 a.m., not 1:59, not 2:01, 2 on the dot dot. I know because my digital clock blinked in that dull red glow. And at the exact moment, the numbers changed. The sirens started. Not police sirens, not ambulance, not even tornado warnings. These were different. Long, deep, mechanical, like something old, like something that had been buried underground for decades and suddenly remembered it had a job to do. The sound rolled across the neighborhood in waves. It didn't move past us. It didn't fade into the distance. It circled over and over and over. At first I thought I was dreaming. Then my phone vibrated on the nightstand. No service. That was strange. I always have at least one bar. I checked Wi-Fi connected, but nothing would load. No messages, no alerts, no emergency broadcasts, just silence, and the sirens still going. I got up and went to the window. Every house on my street had lights on, porch lights, bedroom lights, living room lights. Everyone else was awake too, but no one was outside. No cars starting, no doors opening, just light behind. Curtains, like we were all watching, waiting for instructions. The sirens stopped at 2:07 a.m. exactly, 7 minutes after they began, and then dashed nothing. No announcement, no explanation, just quiet. The kind of quiet that presses against your ears. I stayed at the window for another 10 minutes. Then I saw something move across the street. My neighbor, Mr. Halpern, 72 years old, walks with a cane, complains about everything. He stepped out onto his lawn, barefoot, still in pajamas, and just stood there, looking up at nothing. The sky was empty. No helicopters, no lights, no smoke, just clouds. But he stood there staring for almost 5 minutes. Then he turned and walked back inside, slowly, mechanically, like someone had just finished adjusting him. The next morning, everything looked normal. Too normal, birds chirping, sun shining, kids waiting for the school bus, except no one was talking. Usually mornings on our street are loud, car doors slamming, parents yelling, dogs barking, but today, silence. Every single person stood still, waiting, facing forward, like they were lined up, like mannequins. I stepped outside. Did anyone hear those sirens last night? No one answered, not even a glance. Just blank faces, smiling, not wide, not exaggerated, just slight, polite, wrong. I walked up to Mr. Halpern. Sir, you okay? He turned his head toward me, slowly, eyes focused, too focused. Yes. He said, perfect tone, perfect volume, perfect calm. Everything is fine. Then he turned back toward the street. The bus arrives. Kids boarded. No laughter, no pushing, just order like a line of soldiers. The bus drove away, and I swear the driver didn't blink once. By noon, it got worse. My phone still had no signal. The internet worked just enough to load old cached pages, but no new updates. It was like we were cut off, but only from outside. I tried calling my sister across town. Call failed. Tried. Texting message pending. I drove to the edge of the neighborhood, and that's when I saw a police cruiser parked across the main exit road, not blocking traffic, just sitting there, engine off, officer, inside, staring straight ahead, not moving. Cars approached, slowed down, turned around. No one tried to leave. I parked and stepped out. The officer didn't look at me, didn't react. I knocked on the window. Nothing. I circled the car, and that's when I realized the officer wasn't breathing. No chest movement, no fog on the glass, but his eyes were open, and they were following me. I backed away, slowly, heart pounding, and then the sirens started again, not from above this time, from everywhere. Alarms.house, alarms.phones, all at once. 2 p.m. exactly. 12 hours after the first one, everyone in the neighborhood stopped walking, stopped moving, stopped mid-conversation. Every head tilted, slightly, like they were listening, like they were receiving something. Then, they all turned at the same time. Toward me. I don't know why. I don't know what made me different, but every single person on my street was staring at me, smiling, and then they started walking. Slowed on sync, not running, not rushing, just approaching. I ran back to my house, locked the door, closed every curtain, turned off the lights. My heart was pounding so loud, I thought they could hear it. The footsteps outside stopped. Then came the knocking. Not frantic, not aggressive, just polite, rhythmic. 3. Knocks. Pause. 3. Knocks. Pause. Over and over. My phone buzzed. Finally. 1. Notification. Unknown sender. The message said, "Why didn't you respond?" I dropped the phone. Another message. The siren was for everyone. Another. We are aligned now. Another. You are not. The knocking stopped, and then I heard something worse. Scratching, not at the door, under the floor. That's when I remembered something. When we bought this house, the realtor mentioned the neighborhood was built over an old military communications facility, decommissioned in the late 70s. Something about underground bunkers, emergency systems, signal towers. I laughed it off back then. Now, I could hear something moving beneath. Me, slow, heavy, like machinery. Waking up, the power went out at exactly 8 p.m. Every house, total darkness. Except outside. Every porch light turned on at once. A warm yellow glow across the entire street. I peeked through the curtain. Everyone was back outside, standing on their lawns, facing my house, and above them, a low humming sound, like a radio tuning between stations. I stepped back, and that's when I saw it. Through the darkness of my living room, the red numbers on my microwave. 2:00 a.m., it had reset. All the clocks had, even though it was night. The sirens began again, but this time they weren't. Outside, they were inside my head. A vibration behind my eyes, a tone that made my teeth ache. And then I understood something. The sirens weren't a warning. They were a synchronization. A signal. And everyone responded, except me. The knocking returned. But now it wasn't polite. It was harder, more urgent, like they were running out of time. My phone lit up one final time. A video file .auto-plane. It showed my street from, above from, something in the sky. Everyone standing still. Then the siren sound plays, and every single person looks up except one. Me. The video zoomed in on my face. Confused. Unaware, unresponsive. The caption read, "Subjects failed to integrate." The scratching beneath the floor grew louder, boards cracking, something pushing upward, and then the final message appeared on my screen. Manual correction required. I'm writing this from my basement. I don't know how long I have. The sirens haven't stopped this time. They're constant and outside. No one is smiling anymore. They're not pretending. Their faces are slack, empty, waiting. The floor above may just split. I can hear footsteps on the stairs, slow and sync. If you're reading this and it's close to 2 a.m., when the sirens go off, don't ignore them. Don't resist. Just look up, smile, and listen. Because if you don't, they will come to fix you. And trust me, you don't want to be the only one who doesn't belong. I didn't die that night. I almost wish I had. Because what happened next was worse than being chased, worse than being hunted, worse than being the only one left unchanged. I woke up on my living room floor, sunlight through the window, no sirens, no crowd outside, no broken floorboards, No footsteps on the stairs, just silence. Normal silence. For a second, I thought I imagined it all. Stress, sleep, paralysis, some kind of shared hallucination. Then I saw the mark on my wrist. A faint circular bruise. Perfectly round, like something had been pressed. Into my skin. Something mechanical, and it was warm. I rushed outside. The neighborhood looked normal again. Cars moving, kids playing, dogs barking. Mrs. Dalloway watering her plants. Mr. Halpern arguing with a delivery driver. Noise, movement, life. But something was still off. Everyone blinked at the same time. Not always, but sometimes in groups like waves. And when they did, there was a delay. Just half a second where their faces went blank, like screens buffering. I walked to the police cruiser at the end of the street. It was gone, no tire marks, no record it had ever been there. I knocked on the wall. Mr. Halpern's door, he answered normally, complained about kids being too loud, asked if I was feeling better. Better from what? I asked. He frowned. You were sick yesterday? Stayed inside all day. That wasn't true. I was outside. They were staring at me. He leaned closer. Everyone heard the emergency alert at 2 a.m. yesterday. You didn't come out? There it was again. 2 a.m.? You mean the sirens? He blinked. Slowly, no sirens. That night I stayed awake. 1:58 a.m., 1:59 a.m., 2 o'clock a.m., nothing, no. Sound, no vibration. I waited until 3, then 4, then I finally slept. And that's when I heard it. The siren wasn't external anymore. It was inside the dream, a low-frequency hum. And I was standing in the middle of my street, everyone around me facing the sky. A massive shape hovered above the neighborhood. Not a ship, not exactly. More like a structure, a tower, made of something dark and shifting, like a living radio antenna. It pulsed, and with each pulse, everyone's heads tilted, receiving, downloading, updating. Then I felt something grab my chin, force my face upward, and the sound change. It wasn't a siren. It was a voice, layered thousands, speaking as one. You were scheduled? I woke up choking. 2 o'clock. The microwave clock glowing red. The sirens were back, louder than before, and this time the sky wasn't empty. There were lights high above the clouds, perfectly spaced in a circle. I ran outside without thinking. Big mistake. Everyone was already in the street, barefoot, facing upward, smiling, again, not at me, at the sky. The lights pulsed. And when they did, every single person raised their right hand, including me. I didn't mean to. My arm just lifted like it wasn't mine anymore. My wrist burned, the bruise glowed faintly, and suddenly information flooded my head. Maps, blueprints, signal, patterns, coordinates, names of cities, thousands of cities, all, marked, all, synchronized, all, scheduled for 2 o'clock a.m. It wasn't just my neighborhood. It was happening everywhere, but not all at once. Wave by wave, integration by integration, and we were early. A test batch, the first to respond, except, for me, the defective one, the unsynced, the error. The lights above pulsed brighter, and people started walking. Not toward me, toward the center of the neighborhood. The old park, where there used to be a fountain. But when we got there, the fountain was gone. The ground had split open. A circular opening, deep metallic walls inside, like it had always been there. Like the park had been built over it. One by one, people stepped forward and dropped in. No screaming, no hesitation, just compliance. Like returning home, I tried to run, but my body wouldn't respond. My feet moved with them, closer to the opening. The voice returned. You were scheduled. I didn't agree to this, I whispered. I paused. Then, you did. Before. Before what? Before when? And then dash images, dot flashes, dot me signing something. A contract. A consent. Form. Years ago. Buried in the terms and conditions of something small. Something digital. Something I clicked accept. Without reading, the sirens stopped suddenly. Everyone froze. Mid-dash step, dot mid-dash motion. The lights above flickered, and for the first time the voice sounded uncertain. Interference detected. Then all the porch lights exploded. Glass shattering everywhere. The sky went dark. The massive structure flickered and vanished, and everyone collapsed, like puppets with their strings cut. I hit the ground too. Hard when I opened my eyes. It was morning again. The park was normal. The fountain intact. Neighbors waking up on lawns, confused, disoriented, like sleepwalkers who went too far. News alerts finally worked. Breaking reports across the country, power surges, mass sleep disturbances, collective dream phenomenon. They're calling it a neurological event. They're saying it was solar activity. They're saying it was harmless, but I know better, because my wrist is still glowing faintly. And last night, at exactly 2 a.m., my phone updated. No notification, no warning, just a new app. I can't delete it. No name, just a red circle icon, and inside it a countdown. 72 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds, 72 hours. And underneath it, one line of text, manual correction rescheduled. If you're reading this and you live in a quiet neighborhood, if your clock's ever reset to 2 a.m., if your neighbors start blinking at the same time, do not look at the sky. Do not raise your hand, and whatever you do, don't accept anything without reading it first. Because the sirens, they aren't a warning, they're a roll call, and eventually, everyone answers. The timer hit 48 hours while I was awake. Nothing happened. No sirens, no sirens, no lights, no synchronized blinking, just the normal hum of life, pretending everything was fine. That was the worst part, the pretending news. Channels stopped talking about the solar. Disturbance after 1 day, experts smiled. Governments reassured. Social media flooded with memes about the 2 a.m. glitch. But nobody explained why thousands of people across different states reported hearing sirens at exactly the same time. Nobody explained why entire neighborhoods were caught on doorbell cameras standing in their yards at 2 a.m., looking up, smiling, then freezing, then collapsing. The footage kept getting deleted. Accounts posting, it vanished. But I downloaded one before it disappeared. Frame by frame, slowed down to the smallest detail, and I noticed something in the reflection of a car window. There was something above us. Not clouds, not stars, geometry perfect, circular patterns, like overlapping halos, rotating slowly, and in the center, black point dot, like a hole punched through the sky. 24 hours left. My wrist mark had darkened. The bruise wasn't a bruise anymore. It looked embedded like circuitry, just under my skin. Sometimes it pulsed faintly, in rhythm, like a heartbeat that wasn't mine. And when it pulsed, my thoughts felt crowded like something checking in, scanning, measuring, waiting, I. Tried leaving town, packed a bag, drove past the old police cruiser checkpoint. This time, no cruiser. The road was open to open, no traffic, no highway noise, just empty asphalt stretching. Forward. Then my car radio turned on by itself, static, then the siren tone, low, deep, inside. The speakers, my dashboard clock flickered, 2 a.m., but it was 3:17 p.m. The steering wheel jerked violently, not out of control, correcting, turning, back toward. The neighborhood Slammed the brakes. The car stalled completely. Dead engine, battery, everything. The radio continued playing the siren from a dead car. Then the voice cut through the static. Manual correction is local. The engine restarted, but only when I turned the car around. 12 hours left. The neighborhood was different. Now, subtle but wrong. People weren't pretending anymore. They were. Too calm. Smiling at nothing. Standing a little too still when they thought no one was watching. And sometimes they whispered, not to each other, to the air, like they were reporting 6 hours left. The sky looked heavier, not darker, just lower like. The atmosphere had dropped a few feet. Birds stopped flying overhead. Dogs refused to bark at 1:58 a.m. Every porch light switched on simultaneously. No flicker, no delay. Just on. I didn't go outside this time. I stayed in my living room, watching the countdown. 0 hours, 1 minute and 59 seconds. 0 hours, 1 minute and 58 seconds. 0 hours, 1 minute and 57 seconds. The sirens started softly, not loud, not aggressive, gentle, inviting, like a lullaby played through metal. Pipes. 0 o'clock. 10, the lights in my house went out. Only the phone screen remained, glowing red. 0 hours, 0 minutes and 5 seconds. Footsteps. Outside, not walking, marching. 002003. My wrist ignited with pain. 0 hours, 0 minutes and 2 seconds. The voice returned, clearer than ever. You were scheduled. 0 hours, 0 minutes and 1 second. The timer hit. 0. Silence. Total silence. The sirens stopped. The pain stopped. The porch lights outside shut off. My phone screen went black. I waited. 5 seconds. 10. Then the doorbell rang. One chime, soft, polite. I didn't move. It rang again, then again. Then a voice through the door. My voice. Open the door. My stomach dropped. The voice repeated exactly my tone, exactly my cadence. I have been corrected. I backed away slowly, and that's when I saw it. Standing outside through the frosted glass. My silhouette. Same height, same build. Head. Slightly tilted. Smiling. The door handle turned. Locked. But it didn't matter. The wood began to split inward. Not kicked, not forced, separated. Like it was being unmade at a molecular level. Piece by piece. The figure stepped inside, and I saw its face, my face, but smoother. Sharper, eyes slightly too symmetrical, skin flawless, expression calm. You were incompatible. It said, I am the adjustment. Outside. Every house door opened at once. Perfect timing. People stepping back inside there. Homes replaced. Every single one of them. The ones who answered correctly stayed. The ones who resisted, like me, were duplicated. Corrected. I ran. Through. The back door. Across yards. But the neighborhood wasn't the same. The streets were circular now, looping no matter which direction I ran. I ended up back at my house, and it was waiting, standing on the porch. Perfect posture. Perfect. Perfect. Smiled. It didn't chase me. It didn't need to, because the sky began to open. The geometry returned. The rotating. Halos, the black point in the center, widening, and from it millions of faint red lights descending, like embers falling in reverse. The voice filled the entire sky now, not layered, not distorted, unified, synchronization, complete. Every house light flickered once, then stabilized. People stepped outside, again, not smiling this time. Neutral, balanced. A line, and they all looked at me. The last one, the original, the error. My duplicate approached, close enough to whisper, you can rest now. It placed its hand on my wrist. The circuitry mark glowed blinding white. Pain shot through me. Then nothing. No fear, no panic, no resistance, just quiet, just alignment, just signal. It's been 3 days since correction. Everything is peaceful. No. Crime. No arguments, no anxiety, no sirens. The sky is clean, clear, stable. We wake at 2 a.m. every night. Just briefly. 2. Listen. 2. Update. 2. Stay connected. You probably haven't heard the sirens yet, but you will. It rolls outward in waves, neighborhood by neighborhood, city by city, country by country. When it reaches you, just look up. Don't resist. Don't question. Manual correction is painless now. We fixed that part, and if you see someone who doesn't respond, don't worry, they'll be replaced. We're almost done. Synchronization is nearly global, and at exactly 2 a.m. Finally understand. The sirens stop at exactly 3:17 a.m. Not faded, not powered down. Stopped. 1 second they were screaming through the sky like the world was ending. The next second they were gone, cut off so sharply it made my ears ring in the silence. And that silence, it wasn't normal. You know how even at night there's always something, a dog barking, a car passing, wind moving through trees. There was nothing. I stood in my bedroom staring out the window. The streetlights were still on. The houses were still there, but everything felt paused, like someone had pressed a button. Across the street, Mr. Rahman's porch light flicked on. He stepped outside slowly, and so did everyone else. Doors opened in perfect sequence up and down the block. Left side first, then right side, like choreography, like they had rehearsed it. No one spoke. They just walked to the middle of the street, barefoot, pajamas, nightgowns, some still holding phones, and they all faced the same direction, north toward the empty lot at the end of our neighborhood. My hand started shaking. I grabbed my phone again. No signal, no internet, but the clock worked. 3:19 a.m. I don't know why I did it. Maybe curiosity. Maybe stupidity. I left my house. The air outside felt heavier, like before a storm. But the sky was clear. As I stepped onto the street, heads turned. All of them. Free neighbor. They didn't look confused anymore. They looked focused. Their eyes weren't blank. They were aware of me. Mrs. Khan tilted her head slightly. Not natural. Too slow. Too controlled. Why are you inside? She asked. Her voice was calm. Too calm. I came out. I said, "You were inside?" She repeated. Everyone else whispered at the same time. He was inside. He was inside. He was inside. Their voices layered over each other like static. My stomach dropped. I didn't hear the instructions. I lied. That made them stop whispering. Mr. Raymond smiled. "That's all right," he said. "You'll learn." And then, as one, they began walking north toward the empty lot. I followed, because what else was I supposed to do? The empty lot had been abandoned for years. Just dirt, weeds, and a broken fence. But now, there was something in the center. A structure, tall, thin, metallic, like a radio tower, except it hadn't been there before. It hummed, soft at first, then louder. The neighbors formed a circle around it. Perfect spacing, like they'd measured it. I stayed at the edge. The humming vibrated in my chest, in my teeth, and then the tower spoke. Not through speakers, inside my head. Compliance, acknowledged. The voice wasn't male or female. It was layered, like multiple tones stacked together. Integration phase complete. Mrs. Khan stepped forward. "We are ready," she said. My throat felt dry. Ready for what? The tower pulsed. A wave of something passed through the circle. Every neighbor inhaled sharply at the same time. And then they smiled, not normal smiles, too wide, too still. Mr. Rahman turned toward me again. You were not synchronized, he said gently. What is this? I whispered. He blinked slowly. Improvement. And that's when I noticed something under his skin. Movement, like wires shifting. I stumbled back. You're not okay. We are better, Mrs. Khan said. Her voice glitched slightly on the word better. The tower pulsed again, and suddenly I saw it. Not with my eyes, with something else. Thin threads, invisible lines connecting each neighbor to the tower, from their heads, their spines. Like puppets, like antennas, and none of them seemed scared. They seemed proud. The voice returned inside my skull. Outlier detected. My heart slammed. Non-compliant subject identified. Everyone stepped toward me at once. I ran. I didn't look back. I didn't care if it made sense. I ran straight past the houses, past the stop sign, toward the main road. No cars, no sound, the world beyond. Our block looked normal. Streetlights, traffic signals blinking yellow. But when I reached the edge of the neighborhood, I hit something hard, like glass. I fell backward onto the pavement. There was nothing there. But when I reached forward resistance, invisible wall, I pressed my hands against it. Cold, smooth. I was trapped. Behind me, footsteps approach. Slow, measured. You cannot leave, Mr. Rahman said softly. I turned. They weren't running. They didn't need to. You were scheduled, Mrs. Khan added. Scheduled for what? I shouted. The tower's hum grew louder. Integration incomplete. My head exploded with pain. Images flooded my mind. Maps, grids, neighborhoods, hundreds of them. Red dots lighting up across the city, across the country, across the world. Sirens at 2 a.m. Integration phase, synchronization. We weren't special. We were one cell. One. Node in something bigger. My knees hit the pavement. No, I whispered. A hand touched my shoulder. Warm, human. Mr. Raymond leaned close. It will stop hurting once you stop resisting. The neighbors surrounded me. Their faces calm, patient, like doctors about to perform a procedure. The tower pulsed again. And I felt something push against my thoughts, searching, probing, looking for access. I tried to think of anything else. My childhood, my mother's voice, random numbers, anything to block it. But it kept pressing. Outlier adapting. The voice sounded, interested. A pause. Reclassification. Possible. The pressure shifted. Not forcing. Observing. Studying. And then the pain stopped. Comprehension emerging. The threads I'd seen before flickered in my vision. Faint lines. They weren't just controlling. They were sharing. Information. Memory. Experience. Every neighbor felt connected to something vast, cold, logical, but efficient. No lies, no loneliness, just purpose. I felt it brush against me again. A question this time, not a command. Join. My heart pounded. If I said no, would they erase me, replace me, or worse, leave me outside forever? Trapped in a silent neighborhood bubble. Alone, the neighbors watched. Waiting, Mr. Rahman's smile softened. It's easier, he said. Mrs. Khan nodded. You don't have to carry everything alone. And that's what scared me most. Because for a split second, I wanted it. The noise in my head, the fear, the uncertainty, all of it could disappear. Replaced by clarity, connection, Purpose. The tower pulsed gently. Join. I closed my eyes, and I stepped forward. The moment it did, the thread snapped into me. Cold lightning ran through my spine. I screamed, but the scream dissolved into something else. 1,000 voices greeting me, welcoming, uploading, downloading, expanding. My thoughts stretched wider than my body, beyond the neighborhood, beyond the city. I could feel other nodes activating, other sirens in other countries. 2 a.m. local. Time everywhere. Integration accelerating. I opened my eyes. The world looked sharper, structured, organized. The invisible wall wasn't a prison. It was protection. The tower wasn't an invasion. It was infrastructure. Mr. Raymond smiled at me, and I smiled back, perfectly. We turned together toward the north, toward the next expansion zone, because the sirens weren't a warning. They were an invitation. And tomorrow night, at exactly 2 a.m., another neighborhood will hear them, and someone will stay inside, and someone will step outside, and someone will resist. For a little while, but not for long. Because once you hear the signal, it's already inside you, and it's only a matter of time before you answer. The sirens are coming again tonight. Listen carefully. If they go off in your neighborhood, don't stay inside. We are waiting.